Hi everybody, it's Ginger from In Sheep's Clothing Yarn Shop here in Torrington, Connecticut, and I have a Chicklet tutorial for you today. So, if you haven't seen the cute little chiclets that are knitted from the top down, here they are, and they are knit in the Fair Isle yarn from Queensland, and we're going to let the ambulance go by tonight, and we're going to include it in here because they say the third time is the charm. Let's see what happens. We've already had 2 practices tonight, and I'm hoping that this is it. So anyway, we have lots of different colors in the little chiclets, and these are such a joy to make. They are so incredibly easy and fun. So I hope that you're going to enjoy following along with me and want to make one yourself. Okay, so I have one already started here, and it looks a little kind of up in the air because it is. What I did was, or what we do is, we start from the top and work our way down. Now this particular one I have done a provisional cast on because I want to have this nice little edging that is produced by making using a provisional cast on and then doing a three needle bind off. Now if you don't want to do that, what you simply can do is cast on the amount of stitches that you need. Like say this is it right here. You cast on your stitches, you work in the round, you go down as far as you want, and then on the last round what you will do is you do a purl ridge, and then you will work the bottom like a hat. So it's kind of like an upside down hat. So if you haven't done hats before, all you're going to be doing is doing a nice decrease. So say for instance, if we're doing knit 5, knit 2 together, knit 5, knit 2 together, all the way around. Then the second round will be just working even with no decreases. Then the third round you would go to knit 4, knit 2 together, knit 4, knit together, all the way around, work a knit even round, and then knit 3, knit 2 together, as you can see with where this is going to. So you will go all the way to the bottom, which is a knit 2 together. You do that, you cut, leaving a tail, and then with a tapestry needle, you'll go through those stitches, pull it, pull it tight, and then fasten it off, weave in your end, and the bottom of your chick is done. Now, there's a couple different ways besides, so we do just the plain cast on if you'd like, but if you want to have this nice little edging, or say that you want to do the edging, but another thing that you can do is if you work from the top down and then have just your edging, just your bind off, what you can do is simply single crochet along the top here to close it. You could sew it if you want. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. But if you want a nice little edging, I would suggest either single crocheting this closed or doing the 3 needle bind off. So if you want to do the 3 needle bind off, what we would do is do our provisional cast on. So there's 2 different ways of doing that. One of them is, and this is the way I used to do it all the time until I discovered this way, which I really, really like. So you'll need a crochet hook, and then all you need to do, I'm just going to use this yarn here, is you do a slip stitch, and then you're just going to chain however many stitches that you are going to cast on for your chick. And then when that's done, and then you always add like an extra 4 or 5 stitches to the end of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come on. And then we're going to cut that. And then I'll pull that tail through. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to pick up for our provisional cast on. So what you would do is you would take your crochet hook, and let's do this yarn here. Actually, let me use a smaller hook so I can get through that. So what you'll do is you'll take your chain, and instead of the nice smooth section of the chain, whoops, that's the right side right there, you're going to turn it over, and you're going to skip those 5 stitches, and you're going to take your hook and go into the bump in the back of the chain. And then you'll take your yarn and you will pull that through the bump in the chain. And you will just keep doing that. Let's find our yarn. You'll keep going to in each bump, put your crochet hook in, pull up a loop, and there you go. There's your second one. Go into the next one. Where are we here? There we go. Into the next bump. Pull up a loop. Go into the next bump. Pull up a loop. And there's all your stitches. Oh, I'm doing it with my crochet hook. You're supposed to actually do that with your knitting needle. So let's just pretend, here we go. Let's just pretend that we did all that with our knitting needle. We'll just take our crochet hook out. There we go. So with our knitting needle. And what you would also do is you would do this with your circular, because we're doing this in the round and we're going to pick up. So you'll want a 16-inch needle. So again, there we go. I go through with my knitting needle and then pick up. I have to say, doing it with the crochet hook was nice and easy to do. And I know that some people, they find this hard to pick up a stitch, so you can use your crochet hook, but then you're going to have to move those stitches over to the knitting needle. Okay, but so there's, and then what you do is you continue, put in all the stitches that you need, connect, knit down, do the bottom of the chicken, and you're all set. This will come off after and release all these live stitches, which you will pick up later. So let me show you now how you would do it with the knitting needle and the crochet hook, which I love this technique very, very much. So let me show you that. I'm going to reuse that yarn. Okay, so crochet hook, knitting needle. So what we would do first is we will slip knot, put our slip knot on. Okay, and then we will take our knitting needle and put it over the top of the yarn and next to the crochet hook. And I'm going to hold on to my tail just to give me something to hold on to. So now I'm going to take the yarn, put it over my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull it through that first stitch. Now the next thing you want to do is take your yarn and pass it in between the knitting needle and the crochet hook. It's going to come up behind the knitting needle, and you're going to grab it with the crochet hook and again pull it through that loop, down through the needle and the crochet hook, catch it with the crochet hook, pull it through, and you just keep doing that. To me, this is nice and fast. Down through, around, and through. Whoops, like that. But whatever is you find easiest or that you like the best is the one that you should go with. But once I got going with this, I love it. It's so quick. Once you get the hang of it, it's very quick and easy to do. So anyway, again, what you're going to do is I'm going to cut the yarn off, leaving a tail, and I'm going to take that yarn and I'm going to crochet a couple more chains and pull that through my last chain, and there we go. Now, of course, this would be on a circular needle, and then what you would just do is simply knit this, just like we did with the rest, down, do the bottom of the chick, and then what will happen is you will have what I have here. Here's my provisional cast on. Oh, well, see, I started here. Okay, let's do it this way. I started with my provisional cast on, and then I knit down. Right here is where I'll do my purl, and then I'll do, this is the bottom of the chicken. So now I'm going to flip it upside down, and now say we're done. We did the bottom of the chicken. Well, now we want to take off this provisional cast on and pick up with our circular knitting needle. So, and I started to do that. So here's my needle that I was picking up. So what I'm doing is I'm undoing those provisional stitches, And to make life easy and to make sure that you don't accidentally drop a stitch is you take your needle and you see this stitch right here. This is my next stitch that will be my live stitch. I'll put my needle through it and then release that stitch, that chain. I'll go into the next one. Now, if you're brave and you just want to just pull it all out, you can do that too. That tends to be one of the things that I do, is I would just pull it all out and then just pick up my stitches. If I drop a couple, I know how to fix that, so I'm not worried about it. But anyway, so we could just do this. Just drop the stitch into the next one, and you do this all the way around. Now, I learned my lesson from the previous video. I'm not going to stop it and pick all these stitches up. So we're going to pretend that because I'm not going to bore you by picking all these stitches up. So what I'm going to do is all these stitches will get picked up and they'll be on this needle. Oh, I know. I wanted to do the 3-needle bind off for you. Okay. All right. Well, cross your fingers that I don't do something. Well, let's see. I'll pick up a few more. I'll think about this. I just want to make sure I press the right button so I don't lose you again. Let's see. Yeah, this is the way I have to hold this and do this. And make sure that I'm in the frame here. Is not easy. All right, so I'm going to let you go for a minute. I'm going to press the right button, and I will be right back. Okay, so here we go. So I have taken all of the provisional cast on off, and as you see, I've got a few loops here because I dropped some stitches because I was in a hurry and I just kind of was pulling them off, but that's okay. That does not concern me. I know how to fix these. Everybody should know how to fix these, so you shouldn't be get concerned about that. So anyway, that's for another time. But right now, what I'm going to do is for the 3-needle bind off, which will close this up. And this is excellent if you want to ever put shoulders together and have a nice strong bind off, but something that looks really nice on the right side. Now I'm doing the 3-needle bind off on the right side because I want this nice little decorative ridge. What I should be doing is doing it on the wrong side if I was, say, doing a shoulder, because then when you're done, when you go to the right side of your work, then you won't have this. You'll just have a very nice, clean looking seam. So, but this is decorative, so I'm doing this on the right side. Okay, so now what I would do is we keep this on the circular needle, and what we do is, I'll show you the 3-needle bind off. I'll use it in a different color so that we can really see it, and you'll see how nice of a contrast, nice of an edging that it make also. So I'm going to leave my little tail here. So it's like your typical bind off. What you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and go through the front of the front stitch, the back stitch, and then you're going to take your yarn the color that you want, and you're going to work it through without catching. Work it through both loops, and then you're going to pull both of those. Let me just say I have to push. I don't particularly care for this needle. Also, I highly suggest when you're doing a provisional cast on that you use a needle that has a nice sharp tip. These do not. I do not care for these needles. So now what I'm going to do is I have one. Oh, please don't let me lose it. Yep, I did. Just one second. I've got all kinds of cords and everything here that getting myself tangled up in. Okay, let's see. Tutorials are not for the faint of heart. Okay. There we go. Okay, so again, these cords. Okay, so the second time that I had to restart this video, I ran out of power. So now I have a cord to charge up my phone my camera as I'm going here. Okay, so we go through the front, we go through the back of the first stitch and pull our yarn through. And I keep catching a piece of yarn there. Okay, here we go again. There we go. Sometimes that first stitch just gives you a little grief. Okay, then we're going to pull both off, and there we go. So now I have my first stitch. Now again, going to the front, through the back, and then knit my stitch through. I keep catching because it's a little loose right now. Okay, so then that comes off. Okay, so now we have two red stitches on our needle. We're going to take one of our needles and pull that first stitch over the second. There we go. And we can snug up our yarn as we go. Okay. So we did 2 stitches. So now what we're going to do is we keep adding one more set of stitches. There we go. Once you get some tension on there, it's much easier. So again, I like to use the needle that's closest, and then I'm going to pull the first stitch over the second. Okay. And again, next one. Now my stitches, because I have to go through the back of this stitch because otherwise it's going to be twisted. There we go. And pull the first stitch. Come on. The first stitch over the second. And you can see here that we're starting to get a little edge. You also, I recommend trying to do this a little on the looser side. I feel like doing this tutorial right now, if you saw the way I am hunched over this camera trying to get and knit at the same time. Here we go. I need a new setup. There we go. And then we're going to pull this through and then pull the first stitch. Whoops. First stitch over the second. Okay. I'm going to try to do this a little looser. So again, I have to go to the back of this stitch. Through the front. There we go. And then I'm going to take this and pull it over. And you just keep doing that all the way across. Yeah, see, as I get going, as I keep going, I get a little looser, which makes it look a little nicer. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this apart. So now you can see, get a cramp in my arm. Here we go. So now you can see the little edging here. Now again, like I said, go a little bit looser. You might want to use, oh, you know what? I think this yarn is just a touch lighter than the yarn the Fair Owl yarn. So I should probably use a little bit bigger needle and also work a little bit looser. Normally I do, but like I said, I'm kind of contorting myself here. Okay, but as you go, it gets nicer and nicer. And also, if this looks a little funny looking, yeah, I've got a loose stitch there. We could probably fix it from the other side. We could pull, oh yeah, here. That's why it's loose. I have a tail here. So when I pull that tail, that should help. Oh yeah, there we go. That'll help tighten it up. Now also, don't be too worried about this because, and this was a good reason to have the tail, when we put the tail through, it covers up all, I think I'm going to change this tail out and make it a little bit longer. It covers that all up. So you never know. Okay, so there we go. So you'll do that all the way across your piece. And then you'll pull your yarn, cut your yarn, pull it through, and you're done. Okay, so I don't have a piece that shows you what to do with that. But after you've done that, oh, okay, so I showed you all that. Do not go all the way across. I did this twice with one of my chickens. You're only going to go part way to about here because guess what? We still have to stuff this chicken. We also have to put the eye on the chicken. Like I said, I did this twice. I went, got it done, put the comb on, and then I'm like, oh my God, I didn't finish stuffing it. I did put some stuffing in, but I didn't finish stuffing it. And what was worse was I didn't get the eye done. So, and the nose I do after. I do the nose, the beak after, so I don't worry about that. But the eye, you have to do that before it's closed up totally. So before make a note of it to yourself. Put something to remind yourself not to. I got carried away and just did it. And then I went and did it again to fix it, and I did it again. So that was, yeah, I made quite a mess out of that. So anyway, yeah, you want to just stop there. Just pull your yarn out, just stop. And then you want to put your eye in, and then get the rest of your stuffing in. And also what I like to do is I'll take a knitting needle and I will put it inside and poke that stuffing just to give the tail a little bit more, a little more shaping. And then I kind of make sure that I can poke a little bit more in the head as I'm finishing up the last of the stitches. Now, the eyes, you can put buttons on if you want. You can stitch them on if you'd like. But if you want to do the safety eyes, the kits that I make up, I do include safety eyes. And I'll show you how those work. So we'll just take a place here. So say that we want to put our eye in. You just want to kind of figure out, you know what I'll do? Here, we'll say that this was here. We'll say that this is the face right here, okay? So my eye would go, actually, you can count down. I think what I did was I did 1, 2, 3. I went to the 4th stitch down, and 1, 2, 3, 4th stitch over. Nice and easy. So you do that for both, for that side and for the other side. You can also look at your chicken face on like that to make sure that they're even. So, okay, the safety eyes. So you'll get it. I'm going to use this particular, I think this color looks really cute. So what you do is you figure out where you want to be. So like I said, 1, 2, 3 into the 4th, 1, 2, 3, yeah, about right there is where I want it. You're just going to take it and push it through. There you go. There's your safety eye in. And then, and this is, I keep hitting this. Okay, so this is the backing that you're going to use for the safety eye. I don't know how well you can see that. It's so tiny. It's really tiny. There you go. Now, I find one of these will go on nice and easy with one of the eyes, and then one of them you can't. And what you do is when you push it in, you want to hear a pop. 2 at the most. If you put in more than that, it's going to push through. It's going to push in and be too tight on the bird's face. So now what we're going to do is you go to the inside. See, there's our eye sticking in here. Then you want to take, and I do it like a little cup, and I put it down. Oops, I put it in like this. There we go. And see how it's like that? I don't want to push it in because I'm not quite finished with this purge yet. So anyway, so what you want to do is you want to push down, and you're going to hear pop, that it's gone on and that it's snapped into place. Now, should it not do that, or should it be really, really hard for that to happen, what you want to do is take like a metal needle and put it through the hole and really push that in. Now this just goes through, so that means you probably want a little bit bigger size needle. I'll use the other side of my crochet hook. There we go. And you want to push in and just stretch it out a little bit. There we go. That's going to stretch that out. And then that should take care of it. But they're not inexpensive. And you can fix them yourselves to make it a little bit bigger so that they'll pop on, okay? So you could take care of that yourself. So don't get nervous if they're not popping on. Okay, so let's see. So we've got our eyes on. Okay, our beak. And I think we could do the beak kind of on this one too. Let's just get my... Okay, so... All right, so say we have our eye on there. So our beak, you can see right on, where I have it put. And I mean, you can put your beak wherever you want it to be. But I find, a couple stitches over. And then what I also do, and on the pattern, I put these little lines here to give you an idea. So I start with a couple, like 2 longer lines. And then I get a little narrower, a little narrower, a little narrower to give it a little bit of shape. And the way that I do that is I take my beak colored yarn, there you go, and a tapestry needle. Okay. And then what I do, and this is one of those things, you might have to play with it a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to get it just right. Let's see. So I'm looking at this chicken here, and I went down about 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the fifth stitch down, and the third stitch over. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so about here. So what I do is I look at it straight on like this. I go from one side, and of course it's got stuffing in there too, and I put my finger behind it, and I go from one side to the other side. Let's see. And then what I do, I'm not going to cut this, but I leave a tail because I'm going to weave that tail in after. Oh, this should be fun. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I will go right underneath or in the same hole that I came out of and go back across and go in the same hole again, or the same stitch. There we go. And pull our tail out. Okay. And however many stitches it takes you, and sometimes you cannot get it on the first try. You need to try it a couple times. I mean, there's lots of times I have to do it a few times to get it just right. You also want to try to get your stitches lined up underneath each other. See how that is nice and neat? Okay, and now I'm going to kind of go in a little bit, and then go in a little bit on the next side and go across. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing again. There we go. And then you can look at it sideways too. And then you might want to go in just a little bit more. So like go into like a half a stitch. All right. There we go. And then do another small one. See this one here. Don't like that. I'm going to go back out a little bit. There we go. And do this again. Whoops. Okay. Whoops. And we want to make sure that it's not on top of each other. We want them nice and neat. There we go. If you need to pull on it a little bit, you can. Now, what I like to do is, on my last one, I'm going to go into the same spot, and then what I'll do is I'm going to run my needle up through the back, because we need to bury our yarn here. So there we go. This is probably not going to be perfect, because if you could see the way that I am that I'm doing this right now, it's ridiculous. Okay, so that gives you the idea. This is not perfect. Yeah, this is not perfect by a long shot, but that gives you an idea. You could certainly play with it. I'm actually getting a cramp in my shoulder right now from holding my arm the way I am. And then what I do is I'll take this tail, I'll cut it a little bit shorter, and I will run that tail, to get rid of it, I will run that tail across the top, and again I will take that needle and go down through, and I'll go back and forth a few times to lock that in for the beak. Okay, so that gives you that idea. So that's the beak. Okay, so we did the eye, the beak. Oh, and the crown. Okay, so the crown is super easy. And what I'm going to do, because I'm running out of space here on my piece, what I'll do is I will show you how that works. Grab a piece of yarn. Oh, I think we have to grab from the outside of this one here. I've got yarn all over the place. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take one of these chickens, and I'm just going to pretend that the other side is we're just going to take a section here. So I think on the pattern, I think I did say how many stitches. I'm sure I did. I think it was like 9. So what you want to do is, on here, you want to see where your end is, where the end of the face is going to be. And I count 1, 2, I think like 9. You could do like 8 or 9 chains. Okay, so we're just going to pretend that we're at the end, and I'm just going to go into a chain. I want a smaller crochet hook. Go into the chain like that. And then, now this is crocheted, so it's just a very basic crochet. I'm going to pull through, and you know what I do is I take both tails and I pull both tails through. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet over the top of that tail so it helps weave that in for me. Okay, so that was a single crochet. And I know I have 2 loops on this crochet hook, but they're going to be gone in a minute. So now what I'll do is I'm going to do a half double crochet and go into the next chain, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, do my half double crochet. It's going to go through all those loops. There we go. And then, I keep track of that little tail. And now I'm going to do another half double crochet. Now, and through the same hole, or the same stitch, half double. I'm going to do 3 of them. Now, depending on how frilly, how much, what's the word that I want? Mine have a little bit of a wave in here, but if you want them really ruffly, that's the word I want. If you want them really, really ruffly, you can put as many half doubles as you want in one stitch. The more you do, the more ruffly it's going to become. Oh, and I just used a short piece. All right, so that's the half double. And then what I do for the taller part, I'll change over to a double crochet, which is you wrap around once, you go into the chain, you pull up a loop, you wrap around, pull through 2, and then wrap around, and then pull through 2, and I'm going to run out of yarn. But see, it makes it a little bit higher. And then again, you could do as many as you want. Here, I want to keep going. Oh, how did I get a little piece like that? Because I took the wrong piece. Okay, I'm going to do it again because it's really fast. That's the nice thing about crochet. You can rip it out real fast and you can chain it up real fast. Okay, so I'm going to go through 2. Okay, I'm going to go through. There we go. So now, and I'm going to keep that little piece there. So now I'm going to do a half double crochet in the next chain. Okay, half double in the same one, half double. I'll do 3. Half double, and then I'm going to go to the next chain. So I'm going to do 3 half doubles in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, and you can be as creative as you want with this part. It's really pretty simple. Okay, and then I'd probably do that one more time, and then you can do the double crochet, and the double crochet goes through 2, wrap around, goes through 2, wrap around, go back into the same hole, wrap around, go through 2, wrap around, go through 2, and I didn't catch something. So that's going to make it, I'm caught. All right, so that's going to make it up taller. Okay, so you see that part right there? That's what's going to happen. And then you'll go change back to half double crochet 3 times, and then you'll go to single crochet and then slip it, a slip stitch, pull it through, and then you'll just weave it back and forth, and there is your little, I keep forgetting what the word is. It's not the comb. There we go. So I'm just going to rip this out because that's done. Okay, so there we go. Now, one last thing that I have added to the pattern because I was determined. Do I have it on here? Yes. I was determined that I was going to have the wattle on my chicks. So there we go. So again, that's a very, very simple thing. And the way that I did that, very simple. I found that I was trying to do it, I was making it way more complicated than I should have. So, wattle. I was trying to do 2 pieces, and I'm like, it's like a cartoon character. You need to keep the lines really simple. So, okay, I'm going to do my slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to do a double crochet into the first chain. I'm using a big hook right now, so this is going to come out bigger. I use the smaller hook normally. Okay, so there's a double crochet, Do I do double crochet or half double crochet? Wait a minute. Let me check my pattern. I do double crochets. Okay. It's just because the crochet hook is it's way bigger. Okay. So then I do 5. Okay. So I'm going to do, that was 1. So now I'm going to do 4 more. So a total of 5 double crochets, whoops, in that same hole. And that's, yeah, right there. So I'm going to do 5. That's 2. Oops. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this, leave it long enough tail, and I'm just going to pull that through, okay, and then with my tapestry needle, I'm going to take that piece of yarn from the tail from that piece right there, and I'm going to work my way from the top of that double crochet down to the beginning of where we started. So I'm just going to take my needle and I'm just going to run it down through those stitches. There we go. So now both stitches are at the very end. There is our little wattle, and all we have to do is take both tails. Just find, yeah, this one's a little bit big. I take each tail. I take my needle and I will sew it on one side underneath the beak, weave that tail in, then I'll take the other side, just to make it balanced, and then I'll sew it from the other side. Oh, this looks adorable. Look at that, how cute. Yeah, or you could do a half double crochet if your yarn is bigger. But there you go. How cute is that? So we have our little wattle on there. Oh, and then the tail, I wanted to show you because there is a little trick to the tail. I did the tail one way, and I was like, oh, that's okay. But I found that the tail seemed to, I think that's part of the reason I like to kind of keep the tail a little bit shorter, because they stay up straight, as opposed to, see, this one's longer, and it's kind of flopping down. But anyway, what I do is I take 4 ends. Let's see, can I do this? Okay. I wrap them around my fingers so that I have 4 ends. And I'm going to cut this. And I probably should measure what it is. I'm not sure how long it is. I think 5 inches. This is a little on the short side just because. So then what you want to do, you have 4 ends. You want to fold it in half. And then what you want to do, you know what I should do is I'll take, here, this one's long. I'm going to take this one off and I'll show you how I do it. It's basically like a tassel. Or it's a fringe. So if you ever put on fringe before, it's going to look very familiar to you. Okay, so there's the end of my of the chicken. Now, what I was doing before I kind of discovered this little trick is I was doing it this way. And I would take my crochet hook and I would go down through that last little bit there, and I would take this, pull it through, and do my fringe. It wasn't quite perfect. I find that the knot, because of the way the knot goes in, it looks better if you put your crochet hook in from the back part. Put your fringes here, you pull it through, and if you need help with your fingers, you can do it this way, and then you just pull those, because it's pretty snug, and then you just pull all that through that loop. Make sure you catch every bit of it. And when you do that, did I catch every bit? I didn't catch every bit. One more. There we go. One more. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. And then you just give it a tug and you pull it down a little bit. And look at how nice. Now I need to even this one off. I'm going to give it a little haircut. And this I ruined my scissors. I was trying to cut something I shouldn't have been because I didn't have pliers. Okay, there we go. So now it just, to me, you need to do it from that direction. It makes a cute little tail that way. But how adorable is that? And they're so easy to do. I mean, just knitting up the chick itself is nice and easy. Oh, and the other thing too, you can use pretty much anything you want for stuffing. I use whatever I can find is what I stuff it with. And you can stuff as much as you want or as little as you want. It's up to you how much you stuff it. Now, I'm going to give you a little peek at something that I've been working on. I have this particular yarn from Norrell. It's called Ito. I adore the colorway. Color number 43, I believe it is. But look at this color. Let me get these birds out of the way. Look at that color. Now, I felted this somewhat. I think I might go back in and do a little bit more felting on it. But how cute is this? It's the same bird, just done in wool. The eyes, the nose. I used a chenille yarn. I wanted something that would pull one of the pop colors out. So I chose the turquoise. So I did the little wattle, I did the comb and the little tail in that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm getting a zipper. And I think I want to go for either the turquoise or the orange and put a zipper in the top. And this will be, because these these chicks just make me so happy. And I love to have one around all the time. So I thought I would love one of these to make a little bag. But if you do it with just the wool, I mean, you could certainly line it if you wanted to, but I'm afraid that this would get caught more easily. So I'm going for the felting. And then also if I felt it, I don't have to line it. Because I won't put super sharp things that could possibly go through. And like I said, I might felt this just a little bit more. I could just pop it in for another couple of minutes. So anyway, yeah, there it's going to be. And I can have this happy little chicklet in my knitting bag and just feel so happy about it. So anyway, so watch for that if you're going to be watching my YouTube. But that will take care of us tonight. As you know, the kits are available on my website. I will also have notes here if you want to order any of the kits. And if you need any help, you know where I am. You can either email me, text me, give me a call, because I love to chat with you. And I will be happy to help you out. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this was helpful for you. And I cannot wait. I love show and tell. So please feel free to share your chicklets with me. Okay, you take care. Good night.